Recently, have you ridden the Washington Metro, seen the maps in the trains, and that sticker that says alternating yellow line service to Greenbelt starting in December 2025? What's that about? Well, it is December 2025. Actually, it's December 31st, the very last day of the month, last day of the year, and it's finally happening. Metro Yellow Line trains are running from Huntington back to Greenbelt. Since 2023, all service had been terminated at Mount Vernon Square in downtown DC, but now every other train continues into Maryland to terminate at Greenbelt. I've come to Pentagon City Station to ride one of those trains, but before we do that, let's take a look at the rest of the Yellow Line.
So to get to know the Yellow Line better, let's go ride the whole route.
So we'll start at Huntington Station, which immediately is the most interesting one, if you ask me.
Huntington is the most interesting because of its unique layout. But first, let me introduce today's sponsor, Incogni. When you have personal data online, that data can fall into the hands of scammers and criminals. There are so many websites that collect and sell tons of your data, and many of these are involved in large data breaches. Incogni can prevent that. Incogni is an online service that contacts these data brokers on your behalf to remove your data. To sign up, all you have to do is create an account and verify your information. And to make it even easier, Incogni is offering an exclusive discount for my viewers. For 60% off, go to incogni.com/awesome, and then when checking out, use the code AWESOME. Protect your data and save money. Now that's awesome.
So Huntington has two completely separate entrances. The north side entrance is below the train tracks, way below. And the south entrance is above the tracks, way above the tracks. So the reason for this is that Huntington is built into a hill. So it approaches elevated, but by the time the station is done, the hill is so tall that the tracks leading beyond the station are underground. Now, both entrances have their own bus bays. So if you're transferring from the Metro to a bus at Huntington, it's really important to know what side your bus will leave from. This is the only Capital bike share I've ever seen that has an angle in the dock. Weird.
Huntington Station opened in 1983, and it was the first metro station to open in Fairfax County, Virginia. Today, it is still the only Yellow Line station in Fairfax. There are plans to build a BRT south from Huntington along the Richmond Highway, with the goal of growing ridership to someday justify a Yellow Line extension. Which would be awesome, because then I could take the Metro to the closest Chili's near my house. But for now, Huntington is the end, and a map alone will not tell you how weird it is. You need to experience that for yourself. This is a unique layout for the Washington Metro, of course, but I think it's pretty rare worldwide. How many train stations are there where to exit on one side you travel down, but to exit on the other side you travel up?
Now, if you ask me which is your favorite side, I have to say the south side. For this thing behind me, it is the only inclined elevator in the entire system. So it's just like a normal elevator, except it's at a slope. There used to be two in the system. Now Huntington is the only station with one. It's the exact same thing pretty much as what you have at the Hudson Yards station in New York.
There used to be another metro station with an inclined elevator, Farragut North on the Red Line. That was replaced with a regular elevator at some point. And a funny fact is that according to the New York Times, nobody at WMATA actually knows why they decided to install an inclined elevator at Huntington rather than just a regular one with a long walkway. It's probably for enthusiasts like us.
So between the unique design and the inclined elevator, it's pretty easy to see why Huntington is one of my favorite stations in the system. Now let's take it one stop over to Eisenhower Avenue, and after that we'll have covered all of the unique Yellow Line stations already.
Distance between Huntington and Eisenhower Avenue is very short, but it's long enough for us to cross over Cameron Run and the Capitol Beltway, putting us in the city of Alexandria, Virginia. Welcome to Eisenhower Avenue Station, an elevated station with two side platforms. The upper level is characterized by these round canopies, dubbed the gull style.
All right, Eisenhower Avenue Station, very close to Huntington, but we're in Alexandria now, not in Fairfax. And I think it is so appropriate that a station named after Ike is in the middle of a giant highway interchange. Not that there's no density near the station. No, there's quite a bit of it, though.
So downstairs, Eisenhower Avenue only has a few interesting things.
And it looks like they got rid of one of them. So they have this really cool drawing on the pylon for the Mount Vernon Square Greenbelt bound track that says to downtown, and then it's got the Capitol and the Washington Monument. And then the escalators used to have yellow handrails, but it looks like they got rid of those.
The next stretch, once again, is very short. On our approach to the King Street Old Town Station, we join up with the Blue Line coming from Franconia, Springfield.
Okay, King Street, Old Town. Here, the yellow line and the blue line join and run together until Pentagon. You can transfer here to buses, to Amtrak, Virginia Railway Express. It's also just where you go if you want to go shopping or out to eat in Old Town Alexandria. Let's come back here and film the rest of the video during daylight.
King Street Old Town Station, as well as the next station north of us, Braddock Road, has a unique platform canopy design not found anywhere else on the system. This triangular shape was designed at the request of the city of Alexandria, who wanted a station design that would fit in better with the city's old architecture. The King Street canopy has an additional quirk, which is that there's a gap in the middle. This is so that people walking on King Street have an unobstructed view of the Masonic National Memorial.
Another cool thing about King Street Old Town Station is at the southern end of the platform, you have this sign that lights up either blue or yellow, depending on the train that's at the platform.
Continuing to share tracks with the Blue Line, we stop at Braddock Road, then Potomac Yard. Opened in May of 2023, this is the newest station on the entire metro system. I've already made a full video about this station specifically, and I'll link it in the description below. There used to be a huge rail yard here, where freight from the Northeast was transferred from the Pennsylvania Railroad to other railroads heading south. The yard was even electrified, but hey, that was the subject of another video I made. The next station is National Airport, which opened in 1977 when the Blue Line opened. This station is right next to the terminal of the airport, and I've often said I think this is one of the best rail-to-air connections in the United States. The station has 3 tracks instead of the usual 2, being one of only 2 stations system-wide to have this layout. A less funny story about this place is the drama that happened after the airport was named after Ronald Reagan in 1998. Well, first, nothing happened. The station was still just called National Airport. But in 2001, some people in Congress asked Metro to rename the station to match the airport's new name. Metro declined since it would cost $400,000. But then a Republican from Georgia, Bob Barr, took a well-earned break from representing his constituents to withhold federal money from the Metro here unless they changed the name, which they ended up doing. You can't go without funding. Honestly, this story just makes me so glad that we don't live in a time anymore where we elect media personalities to become president, and that we don't slap their names on every building, and that stunts like this don't happen anymore. What a relief, right?
After National Airport, the Yellow Line stops at Crystal City and then Pentagon City, which brings us back to where we are. Now, I've been waiting here for a few minutes. The last Yellow Line train was only going to Mount Vernon Square. I'm waiting for the next one, and we're going to ride that into Maryland. We're going to stop at Pentagon, which is the last transfer station to the Blue Line, and then we're going to cross over the Potomac River into Washington, D.C.
This part of the Yellow Line is definitely the most iconic. As we cross over the bridge, you can see views of the Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, even the National Cathedral. And on the other side is the Long Bridge, the railroad bridge carrying freight trains, VRE, and Amtrak across the river. This is about to be the site of a major construction zone, but more on that in a future video. Then we dive underground again, and our tracks join with those of the Green Line, who we will share tracks with for the rest of our journey. L'Enfant Plaza is another one of my favorite stations because of its cross layout, where the blue, orange, and silver line trains run on the bottom level, east to west, while the green and yellow line trains run on the top level, north to south. Combined with the tall vaults and brutalist waffle walls that define the metro, it is an architectural marvel. We make our way through downtown DC, stopping at Archives, Gallery Place Chinatown, and Mount Vernon Square.
Doors open. This is a Yellow Line train to Greenbelt. When morning, it moved to the center of the car. The next stop is Shaw, Howard University.
Mount Vernon Square is where, until yesterday, all Yellow Line trains terminated. Just north of Mount Vernon Square is a turn track. After everybody gets off the train, it pulls into that turn track and gives the operator time to walk to the other end and get ready for the next trip south without it getting in the way of other trains. But now only half of Yellow Line trains do this. The other half keeps going. So now the new part starts. As we travel north, all these stations have been served by the Green Line, but now there is the added bonus of some extra frequency and a one-seat ride to Virginia thanks to the Yellow Line. But it's not the first time that the Yellow Line came up here. In fact, allow my friend Andy from the channel Andy on Track to explain.
The Yellow Line first opened in 1983, running between Gallery Place, Chinatown, and National Airport. But later that year, the line would be extended south to Huntington. And in 1991, the line would be extended northward to U Street Cardozo, but only temporarily, as in December of that same year, the Green Line would take over that portion of the route, leaving the Yellow Line terminating for the very first time at Mount Vernon Square. In 2006, the line was extended northward to Fort Totten, and then again to Greenbelt in 2012 with rush hour service only. Rush hour service was then cut in 2017 and the terminus reverted to Fort Totten. But then, in 2019, the full line was extended all the way to Greenbelt, and finally in May of 2023, the Yellow Line was truncated back to Mount Vernon Square.
Why can't they seem to make up their mind about where to run the Yellow Line? There are many reasons, but most recently in 2023, the decision was financial. By terminating at Mount Vernon Square, WMATA could put their limited funds towards other ends. But now, as ridership continues to grow, running Yellow Line trains back to Greenbelt makes sense as a way to provide extra capacity.
So I've come to Columbia Heights Station, and you'll notice that the signs here, they don't have any of the colors on them anymore. I guess they kind of got tired of, will yellow stop here, will it not? It looks like the pylons on the platform still only indicate green though. Now, this is Columbia Heights. I thought I said I'd get off in Maryland at Greenbelt. That was my plan, but unfortunately there are some delays today, and so we've been waiting at every station for upwards of 5 minutes, and the operator says that every platform up until Greenbelt is occupied So it's a bummer, but I decided it's New Year's Eve. I have other places to be. I can't make it all the way up there. It does serve as a great illustration, though, for why not every yellow line train is going to Greenbelt. It has to do with track capacity. The advantage of Mount Vernon Square is that pocket track, so a train can stop there, immediately pull onto that pocket track, and be out of the way of the train behind it. Greenbelt doesn't have one of those. Train terminating at Greenbelt, while it's occupying that platform track, it's in the way of any other trains that want to use the line. So by only having every other yellow line train go to Greenbelt, you prevent the worst backups, unless of course there's delays like today, and then you still have issues.
It's kind of an abrupt end, but that's all I have for today, and for this year. It's cool, we started the year with a video about the Washington Metro, and we're ending the year with a video about the Metro. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride this year. 2025 was a great year for the channel, and I can't wait to see what 2026 has in store. See you next time.